I text Troy and I'm like, where are you, in capital letters? So you're here to hear my birth story. So let's just get right to it. I thought for sure that this baby was coming Friday, January 10th. It was a full moon. I was having contractions consistently every 9 to 10 minutes for the entire day. I did one last sweep of the house. I went in every room and cleaned. As soon as Troy got home from work and the boys got home from school, pretty much everything stopped. So then Saturday comes and there's no sign of a baby anywhere. I'm like, baby, where are you? My mom drove down from Pittsburgh. She was just coming down and she was going to drop a few things off. If something happened, she was going to stay. But if nothing happened, then she was going to leave. She met us at Xander's basketball game. We went to Zayden's basketball game. We went to church that night. And I didn't have a single sign that labor was coming. Then Sunday came and I'm like, all right, let's go to the mall. Let's try walking this baby out. So we went to the Hagerstown Mall, which is on the way back to Pittsburgh, and my mom was just going to leave straight from there and head back home if nothing was happening. While we were walking around the mall, I ended up getting contractions again. We went to Red Robin and we had lunch, except for me. I didn't really eat anything. If you know me, then you know I don't do throw up in any form. Not for me, not for my kids, not from anybody. The thought of eating something and then possibly being in labor and throwing it all back up was not appealing to me. So I probably had like 2 french fries and that was it. So we packed up lunch and my mom decided she was gonna stay because I was getting contractions. We were all getting a little nervous and excited. So she came back to the house. The mall's about 45 minutes away. By the time we made it back to the house, contractions had pretty much stopped. It was probably like 10:30 by the time we finally went to bed that night. Around midnight, I woke up to contraction and I was like, that's weird. You know, it woke me up out of my sleep. I'm like, I'm sure it's nothing though. Let me try to go back to sleep. And I'm like tossing and turning and I can't really fall asleep. And I get another one. And I look at the clock and it's 5 minutes. I had 2 contractions. Great. And I'm just laying there like, go back to sleep, thinking this wasn't the real thing because this has happened to me twice already now. And I get another one. And it's 5 minutes from the last one. Okay, maybe something is happening. My body just started panicking. I was shaking, so I get out of bed and I go to the bathroom and just calm down. You don't even know if this is real labor yet. So I was able to, bring myself back together again. I went and woke up Troy and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I keep getting contractions. They're about 5 minutes apart. I don't know what to do. He's like, okay, relax, calm down. You know your body best, so what do you want me to do? Let's give it some time and see what happens before, we wake the midwife up at 12:30 in the middle of the night. Right away, we started filling up the pool. The pool that I rent from my midwife, it has a heating element in it. So it doesn't heat the water, but it keeps the water hot at the temperature you put it in. We fill it with hot water, and then when the water ran cold, we'd stop it for a while and start it back up and stop it when it ran cold. So it took a while to fill up. So that was the first thing we started doing, which was very good thinking on Troy's part, because who knows, a 5th baby, one of my biggest concerns was how fast is labor going to be? I didn't want to be here by myself like, oops, there's a baby, without having the midwife here. I had learned from my previous water birth that laboring in the tub wasn't really my thing. I didn't really like it. I felt too confined. I didn't like sitting, squatting when I was just laboring through contractions. So this time, I waited until the very last minute to get in the pool. At about 1:30, we decided that this is the real deal and we better start making some phone calls before we wait too long. So Troy calls the midwife, and Troy calls the photographer, and Troy calls his mom, and he runs downstairs and wakes up my mom. She gets dressed and she comes flying upstairs and she has her shoes on. I'm like, Mom, where are you going? Why do you have your shoes on? Troy had put this little sign on the door that said something about fresh coffee and come on in and join the party. He had put out all the snacks we got for everybody, the birth team, just to munch on through the night. He threw on a pot of coffee. We were just hanging out, and we had turned some music on. We lit some candles. We hung my birth affirmations up on the window. We were just waiting for things to happen. Everybody showed up and made it on time. Thank goodness. The midwife came, and then the photographer came, and they started unpacking their things and getting set up, and the student midwife came, and Troy's mom came. We're all just hanging out, getting everything ready to go, and just letting my body do its thing. So my midwife then, she checks my blood pressure, she checks in on the baby, heart rate's good, everything's good. And she's basically like, if you need anything, let me know. I'm gonna go hang out downstairs. I mean, it's pretty much just a waiting game. I was on the birth ball, I was standing, I was swaying, I was dancing. My contractions weren't very intense. My labor was kind of gentle, might be a good word to describe it. I honestly wasn't sure if anything was even happening because my contractions were easy to breathe through. Some of them I could even talk through. They weren't coming at consistent times. Sometimes they would pause and they would be pretty sporadic. If I could describe my labor in one word, it would be bizarre because I had no clue what was going on. Usually, your contractions get longer, they get more intense, they get closer together, they start piling on top of each other, and you can tell when your baby's coming. Mine were so easy, and I didn't think anything was happening. And I even said, like, I felt so bad because, I had woken everybody up at 1:30, and, everybody got here, and then time was just passing by and nothing was happening. My midwife suggested that I get some rest and try to just relax and calm down. So everybody left. Troy turned out the lights, turned off the TV. He put some calming, relaxing music on, and I just tried to catch some Z's in between contractions. But eventually I was like, okay, I gotta get up. I can't do this any longer. My midwife, or the student midwife, every hour would come in and check on me, check on the baby. And I mean, they were pretty much just letting my body do its thing. I didn't have any cervical checks the entire time. Not in my pregnancy, not in my labor, nothing. I never had a single cervical check. Cervical checks could cause you to be discouraged because you might think like, wow, this is so painful. I've been doing this for so long. I should be so far into my labor. And then you get a cervical check and you're only this many centimeters, and that could be discouraging. So I just skipped them completely, and I ended up not having a single one. So after my little cat nap, I'm hanging out with my photographer, and I decide maybe I'll just hop in the shower. Let me go to the bathroom before I get in the shower. And that's when it hit me. I got the strongest contraction I had had yet to that point. It made me go like this. I had my hands up against the wall. I thought if I moved a single muscle, that baby was coming out. This contraction felt like it lasted forever. I was like, I'm gonna have this baby right here on this toilet alone with nobody around. At this point, it was 7:30 in the morning, and it was time for the older kids to get up and get dressed for school and get their hair done and eat breakfast and brush their teeth. Everybody was trying to get them up and ready because my labor was just easing along. I mean, nobody knew this was coming. As soon as I was able to get up off the toilet, which felt like forever, I get up and I text Troy and I'm like, where are you, in capital letters? And trust me, from that point on, he didn't leave my side. I hop in the shower and he just hangs out on the floor. I had a couple contractions in the shower, but they weren't anything like the toilet one. They weren't very intense, and I'm like, okay, like what's going on, body? What are we doing here? The water started to run cold, so I'm like, okay, time for me to get out. On my way out of the shower, here comes another one. Okay, breathe, breathe, breathe. And Troy's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I was like, I need to lay down. I need to lay down. And he's like, well, let's go. And I'm like, I cannot move. And I'm like holding on to the towel rack with one hand, and I'm holding on to him with the other hand. And I'm like, okay, this is really, really intense. So when it finally backs off, I head straight for the bed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. I'm laying down in the bed. It's just me and Troy at this point. I get the worst contraction I've had yet. I'm talking, it had me like sprawled out. I had my hand up on the headboard and I was squeezing it down. I started freaking out and Troy's like, let me go get the midwife. No, don't leave me. No, you can't leave me. I must have been really loud because everybody came running in, both midwives and the photographer, and they're like, it sounds like you're having a baby in here. And I'm like, I think so. I want to get in the pool. I want to have this baby in the pool, but I don't think I can move. I don't think I can get out of bed. That was just the turning point right there. When the contraction that felt like forever finally let up, I hurry up, took my underwear off, jumped in the pool. I mean, I probably jumped in the pool. As soon as I get in the water, I start sweating. It's hot. My body is working. As soon as I got into the water, I felt my body starting to push and bear down this baby on its own. I was trying to stay focused, stay grounded, focus on my breathing. It was not working. Instinctively, I just had my hand in between my legs and I was putting pressure there. It's just what felt good to me at the time, and I could feel his head coming down. And I was like, I have no clue how I'm gonna get his head out. I said it out loud. And I'm pretty sure at one point I asked my midwife if she could do it for me. And I'm pretty sure she told me yeah. My goal this time around was to not try to scream. So I was trying to focus and breathe. Of course, that's not really happening. And I was making a ton of noise. And then his head popped out. And to try to bring myself back to square one, I was like, oh, he has a lot of hair. I can feel his hair. I was on my hands and knees at the time, and then after his head popped out, I had like put one of my knees up and had like swiveled around. It was just instinctive to, you know, help him on his way out. I was trying to wait for another contraction to push the rest of him out, but I was getting a little impatient. I sort of gave him a little nudge and he came out. My midwife said to his belly, which must have been the biggest part of him because he got a little stuck there. I mean, not stuck, but that's where he stopped. And my midwife gave him a little push and he popped the rest of the way out. That feeling is just instant relief. It's like, oh, I did it. Here's my baby. And then you want to make sure he's okay. It's like no matter how many times you go through labor and delivery, it's still this awesome feeling. So he's born and we're all excited. And I'm like, quick, go get the boys so they can meet their brother. He was born at 8:10 and they get on the bus at 8:30. So everybody comes flying in. They're like, whoa, like look at our brother. And you know, everybody is oohing and awing over him. And then it's like, okay boys, time for school. And they all rush off to school, which I feel like it was just perfect timing because then I had the rest of the day to sort of recover from such a long night without having to worry about the needs of the older kids. So I got out of the pool and was just chilling on the bed. You know, we were doing skin to skin. It was latching, unlatching. We were just sort of hanging out, waiting for the placenta to come. And Troy thought it would be awesome if our mothers cut the cord. Come on, Mimi. Come on, Grammy. You cut the cord. And they're like, no, no, no. And he's like, I've cut plenty of cords. Like, why don't you guys cut the cord this time? So I thought that was really awesome that my mom and his mom got to cut the cord together. That was pretty cool. Everybody was inspecting the placenta. Troy put a glove on and he was like touching it. And, you know, I'm pretty sure it's still in my freezer in case I want to do something with it. With 3 of my other kids, I did have it encapsulated. This time I did not, but just in case I changed my mind, it's in the freezer. Or in case I wanted to throw a hunk of it into a smoothie, it's in the freezer. Hope we don't accidentally pull that out for dinner one day. So after everybody's done examining the placenta, I check my blood pressure a few times. They make sure my bleeding isn't too much and I'm not hemorrhaging. The more babies you have, you're at a greater risk of hemorrhaging. So that was one of my concerns this time around. I had next to no bleeding. Like, I'm pretty sure my periods are heavier than the bleeding I experienced postpartum this time around. My midwives helped me into the bathroom and I take a quick shower, and while I'm in the shower they strip my bed down, and it was actually made twice. So the bed was made with good sheets and then there was a mattress protector on top, and then crappy sheets. So when I was in the shower, it was super easy for them to take off the crappy sheets and the mattress protector, and then boom, the bed was already made and ready to go. When I was in the shower and they were changing up all the sheets and you know, getting the bed ready for me to come back, Troy got to do skin to skin with the baby. They broke down the pool, they pumped out all the water, they sanitized it, they broke it down, they rolled it up, they took it out of here, they gathered all the dirty laundry, receiving blankets, sheets, towels, washcloths, everything, and they loaded it all up and took it downstairs, and they started the laundry for me. My house was cleaner when they left than when they got here. They do their newborn check, and they measured him, and they weighed him, and they listened to his lungs, and they listened to his heart, and they check him over and make sure everything's good with him. And I could not believe he was 8 pounds even. He was my biggest baby. I was shocked. And I didn't tear at all. I had no tearing. I feel like part of that is letting your body birth the baby without forcibly pushing the baby out. The only baby I've ever tore with was my smallest baby, and I definitely blame that on the epidural because I couldn't feel a single thing. After everything is said and done, everybody just packs up their stuff and they leave, and you're just at home where you want to be. It's so amazing to have your baby at home and just be home. Hospitals suck. They're uncomfortable. The nurse is coming in every 5 seconds. They're touching you all over. They're touching your baby all over. My midwife's just like, see you later. I'll come back within 24 to 48 hours to check on you. Until then, if you need anything, call me. And she's just gone. It worked out perfect because it was time for Zion to go down for a nap. Zoran was sleeping, so we're like, okay, let's catch a few hours. And me and Troy were sleeping, and we all just got to take like this peaceful nap until the older kids came home from school later. It's just an amazing experience. People say like, oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're brave. But it's just so much better than being in the hospital. So if you ever get the chance to have a home birth, do it! Sure, the pain hurts. It's so nice to labor however you want, wherever you want. You can move around. You can lay down. You can get in the shower. You can get in the tub. You can go downstairs and eat. You can do whatever you want when you're at home. And it's just so amazing to just be here afterwards. Because I know when I was in the hospital with my other babies, I was itching to get back home, so people would stop interrupting us every 5 seconds or asking me, when did he nurse last? What side did he nurse on? Okay, let me write that down. After about 2 days in bed, my midwife recommends at least 2 days in bed. I feel like that plays a good role in my recovery because you just spend those first 48 hours really letting your body rest and recover. I just feel so good this time around. I haven't really suffered any baby blues or anything, maybe a little bit of postpartum anxiety. I've pretty much been able to manage that. This birth was really everything that I wanted. My big goal was try to remain calm, and I feel like I achieved that. I was supposed to go live on BirthTube. I didn't at the time because I was a little nervous. I kind of wanted my birth to be a little more private than that. But now that it's over, I totally wish I would have went live. Everything else was amazing. If I could do it all over again, I'd do it exact same way. Everything was exactly how I wanted it. It was really hard trying to come up with another Z boy name. All of my boys start with the letter Z. So I have a Zayden, a Xander, a Zethan, and a Zion. We ended up going with Zoran. So that is my birth story.